don't know, I think that a volunteer group could, do a pretty good job at it, though, to be honest with you, and save, a substantial amount of money for the city. I mean, a substantial amount. I mean, where we're at now with the bids, we only have really one, and if anything, I think that we should, possibly seek, and I think that, the Peru Greenhouse has a great reputation. They have good plans, they have everything, they're very reputable. But for us to go off of one quote, one estimate would be kind of an irresponsible way to go. Being new on this committee and not really having all the details that I need to be able to come up with a suggestion on whether we're going to move forward with it or not.
Why don't we ask the Peru Greenhouse if they would consider working with volunteers?
I wouldn't. I mean,
See, they have their reputation too.
Yeah.
So, for them to, I think, to do
I
that,
mean, either you want it to look good or you don't, okay? I was told to keep my mouth shut.
no, that's
I
okay.
asked the question.
Yeah, feel free. That's great input, but, I think that we have some good talent. I mean, my wife has a super green thumb. I know Sherry does. I mean, she's in town. Tom was willing to step up and help.
Volunteer.
And I think with the amount of volunteers and the talent that we have, it is a great way to save the city money and bring volunteerism into the city. And by, we can step out the plants locally and do all of that. And I think it's something that we should give it a shot, give it a try. At least for this summer. Because right now, we're not gonna be able to, I mean, even if we didn't want to do it and the community didn't want to move forward with it, we would still have to seek other bids and get the price on the fire department and planters and plants flowers. I mean, it seems like some of these have some flowers that come with it in the planters, but it doesn't, the price doesn't.
If you drive by the planters down near the West Clocks building, there's a dozen of them, and I don't see anything growing out of them at all.
Right. What I'm saying is, these quotes that we have don't include the flowers that we're gonna need for the year.
Yes, they do.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
All of it?
It's all the
Does your
flowers.
estimate?
Not in the parks,
Right.
Not, oh, okay.
And see, that's something that we should know. What
and no baskets.
And no baskets. I knew no baskets.
See, and those are things that we need to know to move
Okay.
forward.
All right.
So, I take it you're not for the volunteer?
I just feel that we're so late into the growing season or the planting season that I say this year, let's get it done and then see how we're, this is, we found this out on Thursday. And we've got Mother's Day coming up, we've got Memorial Day coming up, and, if I don't know, I just would rather turn it over to a professional and have it done and be done with it.
Rodney?
Instead of more investigating and more,
Well, we're gonna have to
checking
investigate it.
and bidding and.
Rodney, what about splitting it? We do some of it, Peru Greenhouse does some of it.
Well, Lois mentioned Rotary Park. Why don't you make that a project and maybe pick another park for a project?
How about if we were to seek a bid or a quote estimate for the planting bin, to get the planning in from a professional service, and then the volunteer group would take over.
Well,
maintenance.
what's on paper for Rotary? Anything for flowers or for?
It wasn't, well,
I know Rotary
I
Park
don't
needs
know
some
if I have
stuff
the
over
folder.
now.
And I think you should be able to go to Rotary and ask them for a donation for flowers.
Right, and that's something that we would end up doing.
With all the planners that you had, you said you had a dozen planners by West Clocks and thereabouts. Could you have businesses adopt a planner?
I mean, that's something that we could look into later.
Maybe not this year.
right, and that's kind of where I'm coming from is, now we're discussing all these ideas and,
But you have to remember, we're new to this. This is our first day,
Well-
and we just got this information.
and please be gentle with me.
I think Ottawa does that. The stores have, other than all the stuff street side, they have planters in front of their businesses and they maintain them.
I think they also maintain the
Well,
hanging baskets too.
Do they?
Just for some history on
Yeah.
that, in 2010, Public Works Department sent out letters to everybody that will plant, you maintain. And the only place that flowers grew was in front of the, I call them the screamers, furniture salesman.
Oh, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, he does plant them, yeah.
Yeah, but he maintained them, nobody else
This
did.
is the first bid from the greenhouse. Dwarf trees, perennials.
So we did start taking some out.
The planters,
Ask them, and,
The planters.
okay.
If they weren't gonna- if they couldn't water in front of their own building,
I
we'd
mean,
remove them.
I'm seeing the plants.
Yeah, she's looking at the estimate from the greenhouse on the first, I guess it's.
Your first
sheet,
go-around?
yeah.
Right. I'm seeing annuals, I'm seeing perennials, I'm seeing a dwarf tree, I'm seeing,
That was a very detailed
It
bid.
was very
proposal she
detailed.
gave- They turned in, and then I went back because Sherry wasn't happy, she didn't think it was apples to apples at the time.
Right.
So I went back to Bruce, and I says, here's, not letting them know who the other person was or anything, I says, here's basically what the one bid came in. See what you can come in at. So they basically saw the exact same thing, and that's when they came in. The detailed one, which is spectacular, I mean, that just details this is the information you really wanna see, but this took it over 20,000, which would have to go out to see the bid. We tried to keep it under, and have to go out to see it. But that's a
That's
very
right, it's
detailed,
special.
and it
also
really
these,
lays it out.
these bids both contain, the bid contained fall color too. So it was
Mhm.
plums, et
Fantastic.
cetera, in fall. So it's,
But as you
it's
said.
not just a spring planting, it's also a
Right.
fall
Right,
planting.
and that's summer maintenance, fall maintenance, that's everything.
Yeah.
That's very detailed.
I would suggest though, for the volunteers, just take a few, take Rotary, take the airport, take whatever, 2, maybe 3. I wouldn't overload yourself till you see if you start gathering more volunteers. Justin, did you raise your hand yet?
Come on, Justin.
Well, I think we would have to definitely,
Take all this on, the city's not going to, well, then the
There really isn't.
department's going to receive the complaints, just like we do for, believe me, everything that goes full
It's
circle
terrible.
comes back.
Baker Lake is
You hear
terrible.
about it.
but I think that, I mean, especially myself, I would never get my hand into something without making it 110% completely a success. And my background and my reputation shows that. So I wouldn't jump out there and put my reputation at hand if I didn't think I could handle it.
I
Or our
don't,
group.
we're not questioning that.
But see that,
We're
but see,
saying,
the
we
volunteer
think your
group.
volunteer group should pick 1 or 2 projects. Do the police station, do the fire, do the big ones. You know, do the airport.
And that's fine, we can discuss that, but we would need it more close, that's what I'm saying. Because we would need to get the price on everything, the flowers, the planters, what it would cost. I mean, what happens if some of the plants die? I know that you have good plants and you guys maintain them well, but what happens if, say there's vandalism and baskets break, and is there a charge to the city for, if you've got to replant
I
stuff?
guess replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a replacement. You know, you keep bringing, the volunteers are, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. The biggest key is when you're gonna start interjecting annual flowers anywhere, you have a huge maintenance problem. No matter who's gonna do it, who's gonna take care of them after the watering, that's the biggest key. Even if you put any type of weed killers down, you're still gonna have to maintain it. So, when you start bringing annual flowers in, now you got problems. The budget goes through the roof. And one person, I can't even begin to imagine one person trying to go in with a water wagon, doing them properly. If you brought hanging baskets, and you're looking at a 2-day every other day watering. And one person, there's no way he can drive the truck, water, and so forth. Even the pots, you know, it's, the annual flowers is a huge problem, as far as,
Skip one watering, and it's all wiped out. And you've wasted all your money.
whether it be a Memorial Day, 4th of July weekend,
Or everybody's busy and they don't wanna go out and volunteer.
wind is blowing, I mean, it just presents a problem, no matter if it's in a park or wherever. It's a big key for volunteers. That's all. The volunteers can plan, I mean, I'd be more than happy to show them what goes where and how to do that, that isn't a problem. It's the maintenance afterwards, that's the big
Right.
thing.
Oh, I agree with you 110%, absolutely.
As far as the budget goes, we're fine, we're way under budget with what, you know, with what we got in wages at the moment.
You know, and that may be the case too, but when you're looking at, and I know that where you're gonna go with it as far as the salary that's, without replacing a horticulturist, but we have a lot of infrastructure issues, and $18,000, if we could reduce that, I mean, we could do other things with that money. Not that it's not worth planning and making our city look beautiful, but we have a lot of issues within the city that, you know, we need to make sure that we have funds going towards, and I know we do, but I'm just saying, to put so much money into planting and stuff, I think we should try to reduce that cost. And if we've
You're
got-
reducing it with labor, right? A, because you're using volunteers. And now you're saying you need to go out for bids for these annuals and these plantings?
No, I'm saying if that's the route, if we're gonna get shut down on volunteers, then we need to, see what we can do to reduce. We've gotta work together and take certain areas as volunteers and have the professionals come in and do, you know, bigger areas or whatever. We need to get a price and make sure that, you know, we do this right.
Well, you mentioned Marcia, Tom, Sherry, Linda, I don't know who else raised their hand. What do you want to do? What parts do you want, would you, it's a pretty big undertaking, this list, for 6 people. Maybe you'll grow to 12, but
Oh, I'm sure, there's no doubt.
everybody has a job, everybody's, you know, working, and then weekends turn busy.
I think everybody up here.
I want to say, don't take on too big of an undertaking.
I mean, you've got all these beautiful buildings, all this stuff going on, and you got cheese ball stuff going on for the last couple of years. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I contacted you, remember last year, because I wanted to get something like this going, because that's on the forefront, we need to make our city look good. And, you know, but at the same time, we have to, if we can work together to try to do something to accomplish that, but keep our costs down, then I think we need to move in that direction for sure. Because the $18,900, there's gonna be other costs, but at the end of the year, it's really gonna be
Is
probably.
it gonna be anything close to what you were paying Mike?
No, that was substantial, but still, it's different. I mean, he didn't just do planners and stuff, he did, took care of, other things too besides that. He
One
was a
person,
supervisor.
one person did all that?
No, he was a supervisor
Okay.
and all that other stuff, so.
I had in the summer
Yeah,
help,
half a dozen.
yeah,
Yeah.
you had in all the summer help, and everything was $6,000. With his wage and, you know.
So, but I think we need to further discuss this, and I know we gotta get into planting and stuff, but, maybe if I can meet with the volunteers and see if we can take on a few of these and get a different quote, this week, I think we could, make it work.
It took a while, but it was very good. This year it wouldn't take long until it's already maintained.
So you wanna do that? Or we could, the other thing too is if you don't wanna go that route, then we could.
I'm
ask
not
for-
saying I don't want to, and I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I'm saying pick some
Yeah,
places to
Right,
do.
Right, that's what I said.
Okay.
And then we will,
And
get
then
a
I'm
different
okay with
price
it.
and reduce that. So, I will get that, and maybe if we could have another meeting on, Monday, for,
Monday's fine.
do like, 6:30.